will give you rest, thus says the Lord. Alleluia, 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 alleluia.
The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. When Jesus saw the crowds, he went up the mountain, and after he had sat down, his disciples came to him. He began to teach them, saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the land. Blessed are they who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the clean of heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are they who are persecuted for the sake of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they when they insult you and persecute you, and utter every kind of evil against you falsely because of me. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward will be great in heaven." The Gospel of the Lord. I wish to congratulate our parishioners who have been reading Pope Francis's latest encyclical, Fratelli Tutti. It is a deep work, and it will be well worth reading several times. With something as profound as this, I like to have a key, a phrase or an idea which will put the entire work into perspective. I had trouble finding one until I heard a comment by a Franciscan friar who summed it up with, "It doesn't have to be like this. It doesn't have to be like this." This not only helps us to interpret Fratelli Tutti, but all today's gospel reading and feast. Beatitude is usually translated as blessing, something which puts us into a good situation. We would consider a job which allows us to have health insurance a blessing. Having a skill set which allows us to have an esteemed place in our society, a blessing. Eating nutritious food since childhood, a blessing. We can appreciate all these things, and I hope that we all have them. Yet look at what Jesus is calling a blessing. To be poor in spirit means to recognize that there is much that we cannot do for ourselves, but are dependent upon God. Do you want this? Do you consider it a blessing? Or would you find the power and the ability to be truly independent the real blessing? To be pure in heart, as we see in today's psalm, means making God the center of your universe and your defender and redeemer. This sounds excruciatingly pious, but totally unreasonable. Wouldn't you rather be defended by a first-class litigator? And how is it a blessing to be persecuted and reviled? Is it not being recognized for our talents and abilities that is the true blessing? Should we not seek the reward of earthly success? Would not the esteem of all put us in a good situation? It is hard not to read these blessings without being conflicted. And I think the usual approach, it was certainly mine for decades, was to write them off as noble ideas which we will find in heaven. But until then, we will accept and use the more worldly blessings. Two things changed my mind and heart. The first was to realize that the Greek word for blessing is makarios, and means it's closer to blissful than what we call blessed. Poverty of spirit, meekness, mercy, even persecution, if done for Jesus, will bring us bliss, joy. A good job and being held in high esteem is wonderful, but not blissful. It may bring satisfaction, and deep satisfaction, but not joy. Indeed, a person who believes that these things bring or will bring bliss needs at least greater self-examination. The Beatitudes of Jesus bring us the kingdom of God, true support, mercy, and the vision of God. All things the world cannot give. The first change for me, and I think for many others as well, was realizing that Jesus really did bring new life here and now. And this brought new expectations. No matter what else we experience in life, if we do not experience bliss and joy here and now, we have not truly lived. The second is that this cannot be done alone. It needs community. My previous assignment entailed merging two parishes into one. On paper, they looked similar, but needless to say, they were not. The mechanics were fairly straightforward. One bank account, single staff, but allowing some societies to be duplicated and a simplified mass schedule. The human aspects were far more complicated. How to get people to work together, how to convince them to build a shared community. This was the dilemma which St. Matthew also experienced. He was pastor of a divided community. In his case, not from separate buildings or locations, but rather from different worldviews. His entire gospel is both a plea and a handbook on unity. His Beatitudes are different from St. Luke's because despite their seeming unworldliness, they are very practical. Where there is discord, there must be peacemakers. Like Matthew, I needed people who would ease hurt feelings and soothe bruised egos. These were truly, in Matthew's words, children of God. There were many talented individuals in the community, but some of them were very aware of their talents and abilities and wanted everyone else to be just as aware. They were not helpful. Their need for recognition negated their talents. Those who were poor in spirit, who realized that their talents were from God and gave them back, were important, indeed crucial. The kingdom of God could not make its way in our parish without them. It is amazing how each of these Beatitudes is important in community building and how truly blessed we are when we follow them. I was once asked to write a pamphlet on merging churches, and I told the publisher who asked that it was already done. St. Matthew's Gospel is the best guide, and the Beatitudes form the key section. I did, however, offer an equation. The more a parish lives the Beatitudes, the more it will be the community that Jesus wants it to be. It is therefore very appropriate that the Beatitudes are read for All Saints' Day. Saint means Holy One, and originally referred to all baptized Christians. We were expected to be holy, not just good or successful in the usual sense of the word. The blessings of the world will make for a good neighbor and can run a good NGO, but it can't build a parish. Let us look around us. We can say that the Beatitudes of God are hard to accept and thus rare, but how many people have the blessings of the world? Do all have good jobs, secure health care and housing, and the other items that make the good life? Could it be because so few people have tried to be saints that the world has no real moral compass and has lost its way? When blessings of this world go to fewer and fewer members of it, are any of us really in a good situation? The longer we are in a semi-lockdown or whatever this is, the longer it will take to revive and rebuild. So many of us have gotten out of the habit of Mass, but also our social and educational projects in the parish. And let us note that we at St. Charles are in an enviable situation compared to parishes which did not have technologically adept parishioners. We can also see a nation that is profoundly befuddled and has seemingly lost the habit of civility. What will be the blessings we will seek? What will bring us to a good place? Our eyes tell us that the blessings of this world are just not good enough. But the scriptures tell us that there is an alternative. If we desire the blessings that the scriptures proclaim and work to attain them, it will not be this way. It will be God's way.